Welcome back. This week I'm going to look at a piece of functionality that I think I might have hinted at before, but which comes up quite a lot. It's part of some of the more complex clues, I would say, but it's a really interesting one to look out for because it can really confuse you if you don't know it's there. And it's something that affects substitutions. And I know I've said that there are things that do certain things to the pieces that you substitute in the clue that mix up the order or take the first letter. But this is a particular one, comes up fairly frequently, and it's good to watch out for, and it's good to know the ways to spot it. So I'll start with one clue, quite a long one, and go through it quite slowly, and I'll show you what I mean about how this particular thing works. Changed mind about climbing mountain clad in scarlet. 8 letters, changed mind about climbing mountain clad in scarlet. Quite a long clue, quite a lot going on there. But first principles, look for your definition. Now, it's conceivable it could be a type of red, scarlet, another word for red, another shade of red would be acceptable. Changed or changed mind at the other end is looking good. And then it's about sort of partitioning the clue into chunks and just seeing what might work. This clad in is looking like a piece of functionality because it's suggesting positions. Clad in is one of those sneaky ways of saying this goes around the outside. Remember we were talking about without or surrounded by. Clad in scarlet is quite likely to mean scarlet is around the outside of the rest of the clue. So it's something, clad in scarlet, which means if that's probably functionality, definitions at the other end. And then you run through words for scarlet, red, obviously, acceptable substitution for scarlet. And if you're thinking of definitions at the other end, you've got to be thinking ed, changed or changed mind are both past tense, so a word ending in ed is quite likely. So that's how you have to sort of start to just slowly build a picture of what the answer might be. If you say clad in scarlet is going to be R-E-D, somewhere around the outside, there's no way of knowing if the R and the E come first and the D come at the end, or the R comes at the first and the E and the D come at the end. You have to sort of just play that by ear. It's a bit like doing Sudoku, where you sort of stick a number in and see what that means for the rest of it. There's nothing to indicate that, but you know that the 2 letters and the 1 letter will be split and there won't be anything in between them. It won't go R something something something, E something something something, D. They will be, it's a single word, everything else will be within that word. And so if you say you've got that taken care of, and your definition is somewhere over here, you've got the rest of this as potential wordplay. Now, it could be changed, and you could be looking at mind, about, climbing mountain as the bits of wordplay. I'll give it away a bit and just say that eventually you'd work out it was changed mind. And then you've got about and climbing mountain. Now, about has a couple of very common substitutions. About can be re, like someone saying, oh, re that. I don't think anyone ever says it, but they put it in emails. Re that. C, because of circa. You ever see that used? Circa 1900, meaning roughly, about. So those two are very common substitutions for the word about. So if you think that you've got clad in scarlet, R-E-D, it's unlikely you're going to have another R and E, re something, quite an unlikely word. So the about, you can pretty much bet is going to be a C. The rest of your wordplay, climbing mountain, so there's nothing to suggest, you know that you're usually reading left to right, that you're building the clue in sequence as the clue is written, unless told otherwise. So, you know you've got R-E-D and a C in there somewhere, so R-E-C is looking as a likely start, changed mind, R-E-C and a D over here. But this was the bit I wanted to talk about. Climbing mountain. Surely there's no substitution for that. There's no single word. You can't fit mountaineering into the middle of this. You can't fit scaling into the middle of that. There's no single word you would think that goes in there. But the important thing is that they're separate but the same. Climbing is an indication of what to do with the word for mountain, and the word for mountain is the name of a mountain, in this case Etna, Mount Etna. So if you think that that is Etna, but it's climbing, meaning it's the other way round. Etna backwards, A-N-T-E, and you end up with the word recanted. Now, climbing is important. You won't only see this in down clues. All clues are considered to have the first letter to be the top and the last letter to be the bottom for this sort of thing, for this purpose. So anything that's up or back, up, back, climbing, reversing, something like that. Anything that suggests something going in the other direction, or and in which case the direction is always considered to be down from the first letter. So you go down from the first letter, so up means backwards. So in this case, climbing, even if this was an across clue, would mean put it the other way round. So, I mean, it's really tricky, but you'll see up quite a lot, you'll see back quite a lot, and it just means substitute the word, spin it round, then put it in exactly where it was before. So you see what I mean about reading left to right? It says change mind is your definition, about is C, climbing mountain, meaning that those two are sequential, and then the whole thing is clad in scarlet. R-E-D around the outside, C for about, Etna backwards is anti. You will see this in less complicated clues, but essentially just remember that you're always working down from the first letter, and that back or up or reversed means up backwards. So put the last letter of the substituted word first and go that way, and then fit it into the clue where it would naturally have gone. Unless, of course, there's some other trick telling you to put it somewhere else. But yeah, you can't win them all. So that's just quite a simple thing to look out for. Obviously, some of these words could indicate other things. That's half the joy of it. You just have to trial and error, throw things out there, keep breaking the word up in different sort of blocks and seeing what works, and always bear your definition in mind, because as soon as you've got R-E-C something something D and you're looking at changed mind, you can guess recanted maybe, and then work out why it is afterwards, which is the kind of cheats way of doing it, but 9 times out of 10 that's how I get them. So yeah, keep an eye out for things going backwards. Happy solving.